Hey everybody, this is Kane Wagner with Appalachian ADV and the Appalachian ADV Community Podcast. Today I have a special guest, good friend of mine, BJ Hessler from DC Dirt Camp. How you doing, BJ?
Hey, Kane. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I'll let everybody know, we are a few days away from the Fools Ride and I will be seeing you there. I'm excited to have you actually ride in my group this year.
Oh gosh, pressure's on. I'm gonna go get foolish. I know where that name came from.
Uh-huh. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna show you how we came up with that name, I feel like, yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. There's not a lot of weekends I get to take off and play and ride for myself, so it's a big deal.
I'm excited, yeah. So, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. So for people that don't know you, let's talk a little bit about your history, like maybe where you're from, what kind of job you did before this whole motorcycle thing, that kind of stuff.
Cool. Yeah, so I live right now outside Washington, D.C. in Virginia, pretty far outside. I'm in the country now, but I started out as more of an urban person, upstate New York, suburban life, and didn't ride motorcycles until I was 16 and went straight to the street stuff. I actually got my license behind my parents' back with the MSF. There must have been some forgery going on back then, but my brother and I shared a GS 500 that we left at a neighbor's house, and we would like sneak out, and there was a lot of jogging that summer where I would go down and ride the bike. And then I came home from college, moved from upstate New York to Boston, went to school in Boston for 4 years, and then took a year off and lived in Costa Rica. And that Costa Rica year was the only time since I was 16 pretty much that I didn't have a motorcycle.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm now 46. So it's been a minute. I've continuously had one, but I did not discover dirt until about, I think it was 2012 I got on my first dirt bike. So not terribly, terribly long ago.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I had bounced from Boston to Colorado and then didn't try a dirt bike until I moved to Virginia, which I missed an awesome place to live and ride dirt bikes
Yeah.
out in Denver, but was out there visiting my brother who still lives out there and got to play on one of his, it was like a four-stroke 500 or something crazy tall. And at that point, I had been on like an SV 650 was my biggest street bike. So to take a dirt bike like that on a trail just made me kind of freak out that bikes could do that. I was like, what? But every time I needed to come to a stop, I would just find a tree and put my foot up on it. So I was like, I can't fathom how you stop on one of these tall bikes. So, but then, yeah, moved to Virginia and had a chance. The other thing that really got me hooked on dirt was that I got to go to Patagonia with Ayers Adventures. It's
Nice.
a really fancy tour company that my dad had gone to Prudhoe Bay, Alaska with my brother on bikes when he was 65. And then for his 70th birthday, he took me to the other end of the earth and we got to ride to Ushuaia
Nice.
with a tour company. And I had no idea how to ride gravel or a GS 700. And again, thought, oh my God, this is such a tall bike. I'm going to get out before the tour starts and I'll go practice in the parking lot. And everybody got excited to get out on the bikes
Yeah.
that first night. And so no one gave me practice time. Just had to get on and go. And I was so scared, but I realized, the world is definitely not paved. So I better learn how to ride everything else. Because it was just amazing to watch the guides zip around like it was nothing. And I was
Yeah.
freaking out with bad traction the whole time. 12 days of riding gravel. And I didn't just figure it out. I mean, I kept the bike upright and everything, but I definitely did not figure it out.
Yeah.
Realized I needed a whole lot more training. So that's sort of where I started.
So I know, like in your history, you kind of went, into the corporate world from you went to college and then into corporate world, and at the same time, I know you're doing this dirt bike thing. So how was that transition from, jumping from corporate to running your own thing?
Yeah, so that was actually a really wild story. Like I was I won't say a good girl, but I was a very ambitious kid.
Hmm.
I got great grades, got into a good college, went into a grad school program, was kind of like stoked on being a smarty pants. Everybody else in my program started studying. I did a master's in public health, and everybody else went the epidemiology route, and I got into biostats because I was just kind of chasing the dollar, and I realized nobody else liked doing data. So I was like, okay, I'll be the data person. And I jumped around a lot, nonprofit, for-profit, research, and it finally landed me here in Virginia with Kaiser Permanente.
Yeah.
And I kind of got to the top of my ladder pretty young. But at the same time, I always felt like I needed to have like a badass side. So I was like secretly the tattooed girl at the office, and I would ride my little pink scooter to the office and tell them, you know, oh yeah, it's my just little commuter thing. I would never ride a motorcycle. Those are dangerous. Meanwhile, I've already had like 6 bikes and, you know, just trying not to have the biker image at the office. And I would wear my little pencil skirts on the scooter instead. But at sort of the top of my game financially, that's when it overlapped, was when I got a chance to ride that borrowed dirt bike, and then getting into off-roading, I recognized that that was like an escape. It was this huge effort to stay focused. And I guess full disclosure, and I don't mind talking about this stuff, I'm pretty public about it. Like, I got way into drugs when I was in grad school, and I did not know that I had ADHD at the time. I just thought cocaine made me very effective. So I was like, woohoo, here we go. I'm a high earner, but I had this other side that was super socially unacceptable and was really killing me. So eventually at the top of my career, I got sober. I realized like that wasn't going to work long term, and I had to figure out another strategy. But then even a few years into sobriety, I realized I was completely unfulfilled. Like, I was making money and I had a couple bikes, but I did not love what I was doing. Healthcare wasn't the answer for me. I thought I'd be able to make a difference in people's lives, and our healthcare system's just so fucked up. I felt like I couldn't make a difference. So it just kind of became coincidence, and it was this whole weird, like, woo-woo kind of thing that happened where I sort of gave up on myself and gave up on my life and just was like, fuck it. I don't know what I'm doing. So I might as well quit my job and try this motorcycle thing. At the same time, I had been recruited. There was a company that was just starting out doing some the dirt bike safety, the MSF dirt bike school up in Pennsylvania. And I think they just wanted like a token female for their Instagram or something. So they had reached out to me, and I got to learn that curriculum and really started growing my own dirt bike skills, and realized there's a lot of people out there like me, especially around here, this big city with super hyper educated folks that are just doing the daily grind. The unfulfillment level among my peers was really high, and I'm like, dude, you got to come out in the woods with me. So I bought 2 dirt bikes, because we all know when you get a 2-rail trailer and you go to buy 1 dirt bike, you come home with 2, right? Obviously. So started bringing other adults into the woods, and we turned into giddy little kids. And it was so awesome seeing other super serious, like, I'm Mr. Important at my office, rah, 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 get muddy and ridiculous in the woods. And I was like, wow, I provided that opportunity. It dovetailed well with my recovery, that it was an opportunity for service. I don't have kids, didn't have debt, like, had saw an opening and was like, you know what? The barriers to entry to get in off-roading is really high. It's expensive. And I just felt like, coming from a public health background, I was like, man, how can we bring this to the masses? Nobody would do drugs if everybody could ride dirt bikes. This would be awesome. And so I started DC Dirt Camp. I kind of started buying up bikes used, and had a location already scouted out from my trail riding club south of DC, and approached their landowner about cultivating 5 extra acres of their staging land. And and then in 2018, I got certified. I went out to California and joined a private group that was doing an MSF dirt bike school coach prep week
Hmm.
way in Northern California, like in the Redwoods.
Oh, nice.
So as you do, you fly into LA and rent a GS 1200 and ride the PCH on your way to training.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the most expensive rental ever because then I let it sit there for a week while I hopped on a borrowed dirt bike, finished the certification, and then went up through the Redwoods and flew home out of Portland
Nice.
with my little certificate and a pocket full of optimism that somehow I was going to create a dirt bike school. I had
Yeah.
no real plan, but decided, what do I have to lose? If I
Yeah.
don't really care if I wake up or not the next day, why am I so worried about protecting a 401k?
Yeah.
I'm just going to go all in and see what happens. So that was sort of the both sad and amazing, like,
Yeah.
epiphany I had that dirt camp was born out of a place of kind of desperation, and it's been the best decision I've ever made. It's been such a wild ride ever since. I can't believe this is my 8th season now
Yeah.
in business. Crazy, crazy that it's working.
Yeah. After, we met and we had a chance to talk a couple times, like I felt a kindred spirit with you because I kind of had a similar, way into motorcycling and into, trying to start my own business, minus the AA stuff. But I had that same kind of a feeling where I was kind of in the corporate world as a manager of a laboratory, feeling unfulfilled, knowing that I love being outdoors and doing the outdoor thing and stumbling on the motorcycle, figuring out that, oh, you can ride these things in the woods too. And then the same similar experience when I started riding with people and then showing them all the stuff that I'd found and them having that really great experience, even though that wasn't their normal thing. Like, it's definitely like something about that experience that just you want to capture it every day. So why not
Exactly.
start a motorcycle business and try to do that actually?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really trying to, I don't know. I mean, it sounds so cheesy, but I'm like, I'm not in like a motorcycle business. I'm in like a experiences and life memories and smile factory kind of thing.
Yeah.
People will forget the shit they bought 20 years ago, but they're never going to forget who taught them how to ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
So I work with brand new riders, people that have never touched a clutch, which is always harrowing when you're the one paying the insurance and trying to keep the bikes alive. But we do a really good job with the MSF Dirt Bike School curriculum, going step by step through their approach. And
Yeah.
then from there, I spun off another program for what I call clutch capable riders. So
Hmm.
they can come out and play on a bouncy, lightweight, not their bike.
Yeah.
And it's street riders that want to get into ADV. And I found like that was a huge jump
Hmm.
to go from one to the other. Most people get freaked out and they never take their big expensive bike anywhere fun because they haven't had a chance to drop a little bike. And I got a chance to go the opposite way where I started out in the woods on a Versus 650 and eventually got a Honda 150F.
Yeah.
Like I went the other way and I got plenty injured before I found that little dirt bike. And I was like, man, if I could spare people a few knee surgeries, that would be great.
Yeah.
you know? And to get to drop someone else's bike, it sounds like a joke, but I'm like, I really should have t-shirts made that say, come drop my bike so you don't drop yours.
Yeah.
Because it changed everything for me from 25 years of street riding and having the death grip and always being like, don't tip over, whatever you do, to going to the BMW Academy and just dropping it and dropping it and dropping it again and again and
Yeah.
being like, oh, I'm fine. The bike is still intact. Like, you just step off. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It changed my psychology completely, and it was such a revelation that I wanted to share that epiphany specifically with folks that want to transition into the ADV thing.
Yeah. Something that you said earlier about the experience factory as opposed to a motorcycle company. It's funny you say that because I should say always, I think recently, after interacting with so many people over the last 5 or so years, I do feel that I'm not really a motorcycle company as much as an adventure tourism company, where we're trying to provide an adventure. And the thing we like to use the most is the motorcycle. That's just part of the thing. But the real thing is like giving them the experience of the adventure tourism.
Yeah, on that note, I think I don't know. Honestly, I think that's where I hate this word, but I'm going to use it anyway. The synergy between Appalachian ADV and DC Dirt Camp comes in,
Yeah.
is that I have got a lot of people chomping at the bit for bigger experiences.
Yeah.
They come out to my little farm. I subsequently, in year 5, I left the rental property I was on and I finally bought this little farm outside DC. It's only 12 acres and it's just nice hay field. There's no trees to run around. I mean,
Yeah.
I've planted like 15 trees, but nothing to ride around yet. And people think that's an amazing experience when they first try a dirt bike, but
Yeah.
they're very quickly outgrowing my farm and they're like, what do we do next? I'm like, well, start taking every Friday off and make friends in Pennsylvania because there's nothing around here. You got to get out of this area. So
Yeah.
bringing them to another event and trying to, pair up and piggyback with folks like you that have the knowledge base and the area of expertise to take people safely out there in the wild is
Yeah.
awesome, because it just gets overwhelming I'm sure as you know, as a solo entrepreneur, there's just too many hats
Yeah.
to wear all at once.
Yeah. Yeah. You can get maxed out really quick when you
Yep.
are trying to run something like this by yourself for the most part. Like I have my family help me with some certain things, like usually around like the meal prep type of stuff. But it's definitely a lot. Like people ask me,
Yeah.
what do you do to run your company? Well, I'm the photographer, I'm the tour guide, I am the lead rider, I'm the trainer for my clinics, I'm the website developer, I'm the guy that does the advertise, like all of that stuff, like plus
Exactly.
more. And I know just from talking to you you're wearing 3 dozen hats as well, which makes
Yeah.
it interesting.
That's why my social media sucks, because you got a 46-year-old who's too busy to do it. Yeah, it's so hard to wear all the hats and figure out what levers to pull and when to pull them without a board of directors or any boss like
Yeah.
helping give me any guidance. I never in my life would have thought, man, I wish punching in and punching out was part of my world. I'm never off duty. But it would be cool to have a team helping to direct where this company is going. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm trying to cultivate a few folks that want to help me on the coaching side,
Yeah.
but it's really hard. I know, all the entrepreneurial podcasts talk about like I'm the bottleneck to growth, that I
Yeah.
got to let go of some control if I really want this to get big. And I've been sitting with that a lot since I bought this property. Mostly last year, I finally actually came to a conclusion that I need to do DC Dirt Camp less
Yeah.
and find some balance. Because I mean, that's my slogan, is bikes, balance, and some more.
Yeah.
And because I actually do s'mores at the end of class to keep up with that like campy theme, like
Yeah.
all adults want to go to day camp, and I try to provide that. Um, but the balance part was really missing. Like I wasn't riding, and I was starting to resent all my students by the end of the year because they get
Yeah.
to go out and play every weekend, and I work every weekend. So finally, I was like, all right, let's look at the calendar and figure out how can I both extend the season in terms of starting earlier, running in July and August when I'm usually closed in
Mhm.
Virginia for being hot, and then how can I extend into December and maybe do some affiliate marketing stuff and everything else so that I
Yeah.
get to actually ride. And
Hmm.
once again, it's one of those woo-woo things that like if you put it out there, it'll work. If you build it,
Yeah.
they will come. And I've gotten a ton of interest in midweek classes through spring breaks and all that, mapped
Nice.
it out with all the schools in the area and
Yeah.
trying to overlap with summer breaks. And I'm amazed at how many people can just play hooky any given weekday and come learn to ride.
Mhm.
But it's working, and I get to come out to the Fools Ride next weekend. So it's like
Yeah.
it feels like a huge win to still be able to keep my mortgage afloat and get to go ride motorbikes for myself. Yeah, the big change this year, I put my foot down and I had to make a go no go decision before Christmas of whether or not I was going to try to bring bikes out to Arizona this winter and see if anybody from the Beltway would fly out
Mhm.
and ride with me and pay for my gas out and back. That was like my only criteria was, all right, I got the mortgage in the bank. can I make enough to leave my house for a month and just get my own saddle time?
Yeah.
And it worked. I had to put the cart before the horse and book everything
Yep.
before I got any clients' money. And that was super scary, but it was the best thing I've done for my career and for my riding because I got 21 out of 24 days on the bike
Nice.
out in the desert this winter. And that's now sparked a whole bunch of other ideas for fly and ride trips
Yeah.
where I just go stay in an OHV. It's super low key. I just tell you my pin drop where I'm going to be. You tell me what dates you want to be there. I tell you how much it's going to be to ride a bike, and you figure out your own logistics. Rent your own car, get your own Airbnb, bring the whole family or don't. And we're going to try to do some more events like that, mostly just because I want to ride motorcycles again.
Heck yeah,
I'm
man.
finally re-energized by getting a lot of seat time. It's coming back around that I actually remember why we do this. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Riding is fun. Who knew?
Yeah. I saw your posts about that out there, and it looked like it was working out pretty freaking well for you. It's super
It
excited to
was.
see you out there having some fun.
It was really neat. I would encourage people to come out and that was part of my justification. You know, we were talking before this interview that I just bought myself a new dirt bike today. It's very exciting that it's new dirt bike day.
Uh-huh.
But that means that my KTM XEFW 250 gets demoted to a fleet bike. So I'll have another really fun bike for clients to ride when we're,
Yeah.
off the grid doing single track. It's really nice to put people on like a performance bike.
Yeah. I had a business plan in mind when I started doing this thing, but it was kind of like, let me see where the wind takes me. Like, so I'm not set in stone. I could be more flexible. But one of my criteria when I started this thing was I don't want to make anything so big that I can't ride anymore. So the Fool's Ride, the Allegheny Jamboree, those are both small scale rallies. 100. We're gonna have, I think, our busiest day at Fool's will have like 170 riders. But we're averaging probably under 150 per day. And then the Jamboree, it's like 100. So that allows me to still have fun, go out and lead a ride and get dirty myself, as opposed to trying to run a 600 person event where I have to be at camp all the time and deal with that stress. So, and then the tour is same deal. Like, it's a small group. I'm the leading the ride, so I'm still able to go out there and have a good time and show people a good time. And the same thing with, I do some riding clinics throughout the year, and they're all small scale too. It's 5 people and me, and it allows me to still jump on the bike and showcase some stuff, or we do a real world thing, so I'm able to actually lead people through a ride in the world. So that was something I wanted to do for myself too, just so I'm not, getting bogged down in the details. So I'm still twisting the throttle and having a great time out there.
Super smart. I had people before me telling me like careful turning what you love into a job. It's going to become a
Mhm.
job. And I was like, whatever. It's motorcycles. You don't know what you're talking about. And goddamn if it wasn't true. I mean, I really was starting to get super burned out. And I was telling myself it was fine because I was also simultaneously finding a lot of joy in business development and just seeing where I could take the company and try to figure things out without really much of a plan, but just being able to try something, see if it
Mhm.
worked, and then pivot to a different strategy if it didn't.
Mhm.
Felt really, it's so dynamic when it's just you.
Yeah.
Every change I make is so instantly obvious if it's going to work or not.
Yeah.
So that part was really fun and was sustaining me for a while. But then you just have, I mean, I have 20 something motorcycles to keep running. And I'm like, screw this, man. I don't even know which bike's running and which bike's not because I haven't thrown a leg over any of them.
Uh-huh.
This sucks. So, yeah, getting out and keeping that priority, I think, is huge because it definitely comes through. I mean, I know just from watching you at your rallies and the way you communicate with folks, it comes through.
Mhm.
I think my students probably knew that I felt like a poser.
Yeah.
My stories were all like 5 years old from my last cool adventure. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm trying to pass on the stoke, but I don't really have it.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. So I think it's super smart of you to like make sure you're setting yourself up for success in that measurement criteria that you
Yeah.
still get ride time.
Yeah, that was definitely the goal. And truthfully, I've talked about Waylon Wayne Weekend on this podcast a few times, my buddy Chad. And I've been able to watch him grow Whalen Wayne from something that started with like 12 people to now it's like 600. And that was one of the things I noticed while watching him was the first couple events I went to, he was still out there riding and leading people out. And but then as it got bigger and bigger, he couldn't do that anymore. And he doesn't have a problem with that. He enjoys that event how it is the way it is, and that's his thing, which is fine. But that definitely wasn't my thought going into it. Was okay. I see if I get it to a certain size or above a certain level, that takes me off the bike, and that's not what I want to do. So
Yeah.
it was a conscious decision, and it was just from watching other people, and he's fine with it, but I would not be. I would be too stressed and not enjoying it. Then why am I going to do it if I'm not enjoying it? So
Right. Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
smart of
exactly.
you too, I think, to realize that and be able to partner up with other people like me and go out and do those travel shows. So, you are coming to Jamboree again. Last year you came to the Jamboree. You did I think it was your clutch capable class there and had some bikes. And then we're going to be doing something similar here for the Jamboree in July. What other companies do you partner with, and where else are you going to be going this year besides the Jamboree in July?
That is, yeah, the Jamboree is going to be awesome. That was really like the first one that gave me confidence to be like, yeah, all right, this is a good idea. People want this.
Yeah,
And I probably wanted it because I made it way too cheap for the amount of pain in the ass it was. But, I mean, hauling bikes off this location, ensuring it, figuring out what I'm going to do, how do you keep people in check, entertained. I didn't really know the terrain. And then we're really just doing the training on the campground site. And so I'm starting to kind of market it as almost like a level 4, like
hmm
intro to trail riding kind of
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
where I've learned from that event and the Arizona one that I've got to set some more strict criteria for folks that participate. Because I
hmm
said yes to anybody that wanted to come out, and there were a few folks that really, really could have been on my farm for several days first. They should have been. And
yeah,
it turned into, we didn't, thank God, have any emergencies, but it was just frustrating having, one guy that was so bad he was holding back the rest of the group, and I ended up having to run 2 sessions in a given day. So I had like an A rider group in the morning, try to
hmm
get that guy tired, and then the second client show up in the afternoon fresh. And the first client could join us if he wanted to ride slow and, really take his time. But it was a scary lesson learned. So now I'm thinking, all right, you have to have been training with somebody else at least, if
yeah,
not me. And somebody needs to have eyes on you that I can talk to and be like, do they actually know where the clutch is? Because I'm pretty sure this did not know where the clutch was. It was just, I had to tell him, your goal is to actually stay on the motorcycle. I've never seen somebody with no sense of self-preservation whatsoever that I had to like describe the goal, because he would
yeah.
just speed up down a hill and then like dive into a cactus. And I was like, what are you doing? This isn't a surfboard. You don't just pop off. It was wild. So yeah, trying to kind of market it to as many people as I can, but also keep it within a safe and logical and
Yeah,
fun range for me and whoever else is working with me. I have a few other coaches that are helping me out, and like
yeah,
it's just a pain for all of us involved. If you have really disparate abilities, it
yeah.
becomes a very labor intensive class. So I'm going to be doing the Jamboree. I'm also partnering with Traction E-Rag up in British Columbia. I went out there last fall. They were running 4 different 1-week sessions of, they call it XT ADV. It's cross training for adventure riding. Similar concept to mine, where they put you on CRF 250s and you're on this gorgeous, like 5,000 acre compound in Kamloops, British Columbia.
Hmm.
Everybody stays in little cabins right there on site, and it's fantastic basic training, like very fundamental kind of stuff. But then you get to put it into practice with trail rides in each afternoon, and they have incredible food and stuff like that. So I'm
Nice.
trying to shuttle a lot of my students to go connect with those guys, because
hmm
it's an experience of a lifetime. I had a few clients come out and do it with me when I was out there last fall, and they just had a blast. The guys are just hilarious too. They're really interesting group of dudes, like all motorcyclists.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to think we're all a little more interesting than the average Joe, just because of what we do.
Right.
So that's this year, the XTADV is going on the end of May into June. So they're
Hmm.
stretching those 4 weeks. And then early July, coming up to the Jamboree. And I'm probably going to bring, I think I can carry probably 10 bikes total. So
Yeah.
I'm really going to limit the number of spots. We're going to see how many folks want to do the full weekend. You got to take like a Friday off, do the training,
Hmm.
and then ride Saturday, Sunday to put it all to practice. So then, like I had said, July and August is too hot to coach here in
Hmm.
Virginia,
Oh yeah.
let alone put on like protective gear. It's just gross. So I try to get out of Dodge and bring the bikes all over the country. So I'm excited to come up north for your Jamboree. And then you had also told me about the Hog Rock Rally
Yeah.
in Illinois and that's coming up in 2026. I was all confused by their website, but it sounds like it's going to be an awesome rally. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
all right, I can squeeze that in just before I close for summer. And turns out this year it's going to be August 1st through 3rd. So I'm
Mhm.
still heading out there and I plan to do a women's intro to ADV. So
Oh,
I'll
nice.
have probably a big bike with me. And since it's sort of en route, I'm going to just, swing by Pagosa Springs, Colorado.
There you go. Yeah.
From Illinois, just keep heading west. And I'm going to try to do another fly-in ride
Nice.
out in Colorado to escape this humidity. I figured let's go up to 7,000 feet and
Heck
hang
yeah.
out in the high desert. And I've got a few takers so far. I've got a survey out there where people can let me know of their initial interest, and then I try to coordinate everybody's calendars to figure out which bikes on which dates, and
Yeah.
I'll haul everything out there. Um, and then to extend the season a little further, because again, we start getting crap weather by Thanksgiving-ish,
Hmm.
starts becoming a little questionable. We're going to go, instead of 5 hours north to the Jamboree, we're going to go 5 hours south to Troy, North Carolina,
Yeah.
and do the Chilly Willy weekend.
Oh, nice.
They started that rally last year, and
Yeah.
I did some adventure training at that, and it was awesome. But once I got into the woods, right there at the Uwharrie National Forest, I thought, no, people need to experience this on a little bike. And they have a great trailhead, and again, it's only like a mile or two from the camping area.
Yeah.
So trying to do another, come down and ride with us 5 hours south. It increased our odds that it's going to be a little warmer and
Yeah.
nicer. Get one more weekend out of the season. And then Arizona was so successful that I'm thinking I might try to do that for actually 2 months. Catch like that President's Day and MLK weekends and stuff like that, where folks can get out of work and school and fly
Yeah.
out for long weekends and come join me in the beautiful dry desert. And it
Mhm.
works out because everybody who lives out there tells me that I was leaving just as the scorpions and the snakes start coming out. So we got home before all the creepy crawlies were in my van.
That's
So
funny.
that's
Well, I think I might have to plan a trip over the winter. My daughter actually lives in Phoenix, so that'd be a good
oh, cool.
joint vacation. Take some time to go to Phoenix and some time to hang out with you in the desert too.
Got you covered for a bike.
Yeah, man. Perfect.
Sure.
Yeah, that Chili Willy, that's Ben's from Moto Campner. That's his event.
Yep.
Um, I really wanted to go last year, but just I kind of found out about it too late, so I just couldn't make the schedule work. But I'm definitely gonna
Well,
try to come down for that.
it was 17 degrees. Yeah.
Oh my.
So that was rough. Like they were Duke Grimstead, he's the other guy that puts it on. He was
Yeah.
awesome, but he's like super serious. Like his humor is hilarious. I'm never sure when he's like mad at you or if he's being sarcastic. But he was doing this whole talk on like, let us know. We went and raided the thrift stores for every sleeping bag we could find. If we're really worried about hypothermia tonight and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I was like, shit, this is serious. My boyfriend talked me into he lives in an RV, and I always
Yeah.
give him a hard time that he doesn't need to drag the whole house. Let's just take the van. And for that event, we dragged the whole house, and oh
Heck
my
yeah.
God, it was so awesome. It was so nice having heat and running water, and
Heck
oh,
yeah.
it was wonderful.
That's funny.
So, yeah, but the Chilly Willy area, I think you'll love the Uwharrie, and of course, those guys are super fun,
Yeah.
doing good cause and everything too. They raised a bunch of money for all the hurricane relief
Yeah.
stuff from North Carolina's storms. So that was
Yeah. Yeah.
really cool too. Yeah, good folks. Good folks.
Yeah, for sure.
And then other than that, it's just almost every other weekend on my farm. I'm running 3-day weekends, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Yeah.
And I try to do an adventure class once a month. And I do a level 3 class the day before because I'm getting more and more people coming from out of town.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want to just camp or they get a hotel nearby and they do back-to-back classes. Or it's really the most success.
Yeah.
When people try to do everything in one day, I find they get too exhausted to absorb the material.
Yeah.
And when they can 2 days in a row, they're easier on themselves on the first day because they know they want to live to ride the second day.
Yeah.
So they don't just go balls to the wall and then end up either hurt or just exhausted. And it works out way better if I can tire them out and get them the skills on a small bike first.
Yeah.
Then they come back on their big bike. It's like, oh, I see how this is supposed to work. And they take bigger risks on their big bike once they've kind of practiced it in the low stakes
Yeah.
situation of a tiny Honda.
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of what I found because for mine, it's adventure dual sport. So people can bring a small dual sport or an adventure bike, and I try to set the clinic up so we're running the same type of drills, but sometimes the techniques are slightly different. So since I got a small group, I can kind of work through that pretty easily. The thing that I've noticed as I've been doing these for the last couple of years, it's confidence. Like people don't have confidence. So that's the main goal I have is trying to instill some confidence in them. Some things are technique is technique, but like if I have them going over a log, it's not a big giant thing. It's just this little thing. The bike will just go over it without you doing anything. So once they
Right.
know they can do that, then it builds confidence on other things. So it's definitely a good way to make those things work.
Yeah, super smart. And I feel like that's also kind of part of our job.
Yeah.
Like I feel like people walk away and the satisfaction I get out of the job comes mostly from those students that are like crying in the middle of class, but they leave victorious
Yeah.
because they're like, I can't do it, I'm scared, and
Yeah.
and I like put my hand over their clutch hand, help them release it slower.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like even the more advanced folks, I'm like, don't worry about it. You don't have to do it twice,
Yep.
but I'm gonna ask you to do it once. Like
Yeah.
give it a shot. Here's the A version, the B version, and the C version. Like you
Yep.
said, the little 4-inch log. And I'm like, look, even if you screw this up, you're gonna be okay. Trust me. Like you can drive right over it. You'll be fine. And I think people really sell themselves short. I find this
Yeah.
to be a pretty do you find it too with training women versus men? I
Hmm.
see a lot of women that they've been told or they've telling themselves they can't,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
they're afraid to, or they're brittle, or they're
Yep.
gonna die if something happens. And I'm like, you're not gonna die. You're
Yeah.
wearing pads, you're wearing a helmet, you're 6 inches off the ground. Like,
Yep.
have a little faith in me, but it feels like it takes all day to build that rapport that
Yeah.
they trust me, that I'm not putting them in danger. And I think that's
Yeah.
part of where I really love partnering with you is it's like the no bravado zone.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't make people feel confident by just showing off how badass a rider I am personally. I think that's what
Yeah.
makes it really relatable is I'm like, look, I break myself. I fall
Yep.
over all the time. No big deal. Like, just take it easy and you'll keep progressing.
Yeah.
Do you find that with women in particular?
Yeah,
Less
for sure.
confidence?
Yeah, it's almost like they're looking for permission to get confidence, and I think that's part of it for sure. And then I always try to tell them too, like the no bravado thing. That's definitely what I try to build in everything. It's we're here to be a team. You're gonna fall. I'm gonna fall. You're gonna fall. Everybody's gonna fall. I'm just hopefully gonna do it less because I have more experience. But everybody hits the ground at some point, so that's okay. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to fall. Like not like
Yep.
that guy that was jumping off the thing before, like that you're talking about, but everybody should know that you're gonna fall. That's part of it.
Right.
And then once you're not scared because you're falling, you can build that confidence for sure. And the
Yeah.
fact that we're
Yeah.
a team, we're here. I can help you pick the bike up. The other guys help you pick the bike up. That's what we're here for, is to help each other get through the day. So let's do that.
I loved that when I first met you with Fools last year and just that atmosphere of like this is a team sport is really
Yeah.
what drew me into dirt and away from street in the first place.
Yeah.
Is it would be like, let's meet up at gas station, we go ride all day, and then you honk and wave as you exit for your house and they exit for theirs, and that was it. That was my
Yeah.
camaraderie for the day.
Yeah.
And I was riding way before there were helmet comms, so like you were literally in silence following somebody all day. And
Yeah.
now the the teamwork that goes into off-roading
Hmm.
feels so good, and I love that it crosses it. Like it's a great equalizer.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yep.
who you voted for, and I'm still
Yep.
gonna help you pick up your bike. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
and I know you're still gonna get my back when I drop it off a cliff. It's gonna be
Yeah.
all seven of us trying to drag that pulley
Yeah.
system back up, and it's, I don't know, the type 2 fun definitely helps me bond with people where it's only fun in retrospect.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, just prepare for that, and people get scared, but then it is such a great sense of accomplishment, and I was really just attracted to your brand with that word teamwork all the
Yeah.
time, that it's not about, because there are so many events and so many classes that I've taken
Hmm.
on motorcycles where it's about the coach showing off
Yeah.
and it's about the students showing each other up
Yeah.
and who's going to break their bike first.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, yeah, I pushed myself that hard in my 30s, but
Uh-huh.
5 surgeries later, I'm now like, I don't care. If you think I'm dumb, I'm taking the go round.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that option. I'm not feeling
Exactly.
it today.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes down to it, no matter what it is, clinic, training, event, whatever, like you're out there to have fun. I think for the most part, there's always, you can always get caught up and like try to go crazy and I'm gonna go do this thing and show everybody that can always happen. But I think when it happens in a mixture of we're cheering you on because you just nailed that hill climb, or we're helping you pick the bike up, whether whichever side of that it is. I think it comes back to we're all dragging each other's bikes through the woods. We're having an experience together. It is a little bit of like a mild minor trauma thing, but if you've been like, I think the people that get attracted to this the most, I feel like, are people who used to came from team sport aspect, or like people that were in the military. There's a ton of guys that I've had come out these things that are, prior military service, because it is camaraderie. Like when you're going out into the woods, you're on a mission. Our mission is to get
Yeah.
through this thing, and we're all going to get through this damn thing no matter what. We're not leaving a man behind. Like that's the whole thing for me for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I really love that. I grew up playing team sports, but never felt really a part of. I mean, that's where like if
Hmm.
you sit in any kind of recovery meetings, that's what everybody talks about, is feeling like an outsider and they didn't belong and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I don't know where the hell that came from, but somewhere along the line, I felt like I didn't have, like, where were my people? Who are my
Yeah.
people?
Yeah.
And once I got into off-roading, I was like, oh, shit, these are my people.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
everybody's okay with being gross all weekend long and still hanging out together. Nobody needs to shower this weekend. That's fine. Yay.
Exactly. Yeah.
And just getting to have that appreciation of like, yeah, we all want to go see the beautiful nature of the woods. I just would rather do it on a motorcycle than hiking.
Yeah.
I mean, hiking was fun,
Hmm.
but once I realized the physical challenge and the mental acuity it takes to
Yeah.
put a motorcycle through those same trails,
Uh-huh.
it was way more fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um,
Definitely attracts a certain kind of crazy. Those are my people.
yeah, for sure. And that's definitely the people that get attracted to this for sure. Like there's all kind, like you mentioned, there's hiking, there's mountain biking, there's all kind of things you can get into. And I think a lot of people do multiples for sure. Like I love mountain biking too. I just don't do it as often now. But there's just something about the engine, the smell of it, the sound of it, the suspension of it, that thing that I have to get through to get to the other side, like all those things, just going back to that word you just love to hate, synergy. It's like the
Yeah.
synergy of all those things coming together really make it for everybody, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I always just feel like I get to count my blessings. I often have to step back and just remember like gratitude, gratitude, because it's such a privilege to introduce people to this world. And
Hmm.
then for me to be sustaining my life with it is
Yeah.
just mind boggling. If you told, you know, 16-year-old me that motorcycling was going to be my job, I would have
Yeah.
been like, whatever, I'm way
Uh-huh.
smart. I'm going to go do other stuff. And like, this has been the biggest mental, physical, emotional challenge ever is DC Dirt Camp.
Yeah.
I mean, the challenges don't stop and trying to be on your feet all the time. You know, I'm 46 years old. I'm not, I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm 70. Like, I have
Yeah.
no idea, but I know I'm not going to be running classes 7 days a week. Whoop my butt. Be out there with a tricycle, maybe. I don't know.
Uh-huh. Well, I feel like this is part of my retirement plan. Like it's my job. It's turning into actually more and more of being my actual full-time job for sure. But it's also like part of my retirement plan. I feel like, yeah, I might not be able to do some of this stuff, but I can still teach it even when I'm older until I can't walk anymore, maybe. Like, and I'm okay with that. Or like, putting together an event that's, the logistics of that is different than actually going out and riding the bike through the stuff. So it is definitely in my mind that that's something I can continue to do as I get older, as long as I
There's
still love it and
certainly,
still enjoy it.
yeah, there's certainly a lot of trailblazers ahead of us. I got to train with a woman named Pat Jakes out in Colorado for my first like 5 years of doing this kind of stuff. I was sort of apprenticing under her a lot, and she was in her 60s at that time,
Yeah.
and still riding off road like a banshee. And I was like, damn, how does she do it? Like our first, I helped scout a Colorado BDR tour with her.
Hmm.
And on like day two, I'm in a gas station like crying because my forearms are so smoked. And she's like, let's go. And I'm thinking, I'm supposed to be the young buck, like helping pick up the bikes. How is this happening? She's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'm just efficient. That's why I do this easier than you do. You're still learning.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, there's still plenty I could do. And as I'm cultivating some new coaches to help me out, I'm kind of like, hey, you guys got this drill? I'm going to go in and finish the completion certificates. And I
Yeah.
keep trying to walk away more and more and figure out, yeah, how do I support the business instead of being the entire
Yeah.
thing? Because yeah, I don't really want to go back to an office. I
Yeah.
certainly don't want to wear Spanx ever again. Not my jam anymore.
So you talked about the headsets there earlier, the Cardo, and it did make me think about your training at the actual farm. Because I know recently you set up the helmets so they had Cardo and you can talk to people as they're going, which is super awesome. But I thought maybe this would be a good place for us to go back to the farm. Maybe you can describe the farm a bit more, a little bit about what's going on there, where people can stay if they're wanting to stay the night, and just a little bit more about your classes that are there at the farm.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking. You were actually the reason I got into the cardo thing
Mm,
was for the jamboree last year
yeah.
because I really wanted to take people off the farm, but I couldn't figure out how to teach from the front of a line or the back of a line, single file in the woods.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, they're so expensive. How am I going to do this? And then I just bit the bullet, and it has been awesome. It's been a total game changer. So I'm about 80 miles outside of Washington, D.C. It's
Yeah.
a straight shot west out 66, and my farm is right at the intersection of 81 and 66, which is nice because I'm also getting a lot of folks
Nice.
from like Jersey, and
Hmm.
because it's a straight shot and nobody has to deal with I-95 anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and so then they jump off, and I have a gated property, but I open it up on the class dates. Everybody pre-books online, so I know who's coming. And during registration, I collect their height, weight, age, skill level, a little bit about their former experience, and I ask what they want to get out of the class
Hmm.
to make sure that they're registering for the right level. And as I had mentioned, I have like 3 different levels currently at the farm. The Never Ever Riders is my level 1 new rider class. And then
Yeah.
I created a level 2 class where those new people aren't ready to buy a bike. They want to come back and get some more seat time. And that's been surprisingly successful. I've been really amazed at how many people want to come back and do it again.
Yeah.
So this year I'm trying more and more to do 2-day classes where it's a level 1, 2 back to back, and you got to book them together. I offer a little deal. It's $550 to do a 2-day class instead of $300 per day.
Hmm.
And those have been awesome. Like we talked about, training 2 days in a row just makes people behave. Like it's better for them, it's better for me, it's safer.
Yeah.
It's such a better experience, and everybody really gets to bond over those 2 days with the other students.
Uh-huh.
And then the level 3, going right into then the intro to ADV. So there's sort of 4 levels, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But generally show up for about a 6-hour day. I find that more than that, people can't really hang. If they get exhausted, or it just becomes too much of a time commitment for people to get away from their busy lives, drive for an hour and a half to get here, drive for an hour and a half to get home.
Yeah.
And so there's also the option to test out your camping gear. I've
Nice.
been trying to let people know that my place is conducive to camping. It's dry camping, so you got to be pretty self-sufficient. But because I don't have any trees and so many moto people want to camp with hammocks, I built these little right angle fences that are 16 feet in each direction and 7 feet tall. So you have a little privacy fence, and
Yeah.
it sort of marks where in this giant hayfield I expect you to set up camp.
Oh, nice.
And they then have posts they can hang their hammocks from, which is kind of nice. I just have a porta potty on site down at my barn, is set up like my classroom.
Mm-hmm.
I roll all the bikes out in the morning, get everybody's name taped on the front, because I really find it's really important to me to put everybody on the right size bike. That's why I collect all that data up front, because I've seen a lot of short riders get discouraged when they're on something they can't touch the ground on at all, and they're just learning the clutch. It's like, oh, come on. That's just not, there's too much going on if they can't even balance the bike, the motorbike. So getting the right fit for each student means I got to hedge my bets and keep this classes really small. So I tend to only do 8 to 10 people max.
Yeah.
Most days it's not quite even that full. Some dates are obviously more popular than others. But we have a good mix of bikes, everything down to a CRF 125. And then I have a couple of full-size frame dirt bikes. I also put people on a WR 250R that I have sprung for like 300 pounds. My personal DRZ gets thrown in the mix sometimes when I have other big guys that are, trying to learn the throttle. If you're heavy enough, you can't really make the bike go if you're on a tiny little bike. So lots of little tricks to try to help people, again, with that confidence. I get everybody fitted for a helmet. I have a whole enclosed trailer with big shelving units set up for all the helmets. And then I give everybody a little helmet liner. We wear them as neck buffs. I tell them it's their souvenir, but I ask them to wear those, kind of keep the helmets from getting too gross. And it then helps them keep earbuds in their ears. So instead of trying to wire up, I have, 30, 40 helmets to give people where the speakers would always be in the wrong place for their ears.
Yeah.
I just have them plug in the Cardo unit to earbuds, wired earbuds, run the cable through their shirt, clip it to their pants, put it in their pocket, and then it works out doubly well, because then the students don't have a mic. They only have earbuds, and me and whoever else is coaching with me has the mic.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of instruction, and then, I come over to people, get close up, so I can hear them asking questions, and then we debrief in between.
Yeah.
In between drills. The other thing that I've started using more and more of is I plug my phone in at breaks to television in the barn, in the classroom, and I show people what they look like on the bike. And what they think they're doing and what they're actually doing are generally very far apart. So I've found that to be super helpful, especially in the more advanced classes where everything's more nuanced with standing posture and things like that. And people are like, no, I totally was on the outside foot peg. And I'm like, well, this picture of your butt says otherwise, So that's kind of fun. And then I try to keep the education going by uploading all those pictures and videos to a Google folder after class, encourage people to go through them and kind of look at those videos after the fact. But yeah, it's a pretty full day, and it's a nice, everybody comes out and they're like, holy cow, this place is beautiful. I sometimes forget because I live here, but it faces the Shenandoah Valley, and so we're right here at the mountains, and it is very picturesque. It's super picturesque, and it's nice now that we have the whole barn set up, that even if it's crappy weather, I have an awesome gravel arena that's really small, fine stone that stays dry. So we generally start students out in there when there's mud everywhere else. We can still use that arena to get traction and make sure we're not, sending people on a crash course into the neighbor's farm. I also added a sand pit
Oh, nice.
last year. So I have a pretty deep sand pit and I try to rake that a couple times a month, keep it fluffy and difficult.
Yeah.
I had a hill built because it was so like nicely rolling topography. Nobody understood that they were doing something off camber.
Yeah.
So I brought in, a lot of earth moving equipment and built a pretty substantial hill that's shale on one side and grass on another, and then has another pitch up and over the top. So we do lots of different drills with a very specific hill.
Nice.
And I also added really deep gravel along my driveway. So I use it for parking at first, and everybody thinks it's just parking, and then mid-class I have them move their trucks, and then we drive in it. And it's like, number 3 stone that I paid big bucks for, so it
Nice.
never compacts. It won't get solid. Everything stays nice and rolly, and it freaks people out so bad. But we put them through their paces in that, and they realize it's totally psychological. It looks way worse than it actually is to ride it.
Yep.
In the adventure class, because everybody shows up on their own bikes, they have plated bikes. At lunchtime, we take them out on a gravel loop too, because I'm right on the north bank of the Shenandoah River. So we take about a half an hour, 45-minute ride through the neighborhood and get some scenic, fall foliage if the time is right, or beautiful greenery, just canopies over these tiny little gravel roads right along the river is kind of fun to get out and because it's only 12 acres. You can only go so fast on 12 acres because you run out of room pretty quick. So it's nice to get people to travel and practice it while they're still connected to Cardos, and I can give them a heads up of corners that are coming and what gear am I going down to for this climb and that kind of thing. So
nice.
It's been pretty well received so far. I just, we need to get the word out because I think a lot of people could benefit from training. I'm working with the BMW Club of DC, and they keep reminding me that there's the Paul Bayshores Scholarship Fund.
Oh, yeah.
Where people can actually go to the MOA Foundation, and even if you're not an MOA member, you can submit a completion certificate and get $100 back per year on training. And if you are an MOA member, you can get up to $200 a year. So that takes a huge chunk out of the tuition that I try to always do that at the end of class, little graduation ceremony. And that works out pretty well for most.
Well, that's something that I've always tried to push, like the people that come to my clinics, that I kind of tell them the same thing. It's great to come, to my clinic. I'm doing these level 1s. I started a level 2 this coming year. I said, but it's also good to go to see other people and train with other people. And I definitely always mention your stuff at DC Dirt Camp just because you come to the Jamboree. I've been able to see you working a bit, and I know people get a lot out of it. So, and I try to tell them, we're probably going to be doing a lot of the same techniques and drills, but I might say it in a different way that you do, or vice versa, or we might have a little caveat to that drill where we add a little extra chunk to it, or I'll spend more time or less time than somebody else will. So it's always good to see other people's stuff for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I always tell my students, I'm not that far ahead of them. I'm still a student. I'm coming out to your training at 304 because I know I want to keep learning and growing as a rider.
Yeah.
And then I also listen as a coach for how else are we describing it, right? Because we're all talking about physics.
Yeah.
How do we keep 2 wheels upright with low traction?
Yep.
And that is such a neat art, I think. I'm kind of a language nerd too. My Spanish is my other language, and I'm trying to work with one of my coaches to develop our curriculum in Spanish to try to offer that, because I did not know, and I think this is still true, you can't get your license in Spanish. There's no Spanish permit tests.
Yeah.
There's no Spanish MSF street training or anything in the country, which kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, that's weird.
So sort of an opportunity there, but it's but even in English, it's such an interesting study of how you describe what your body's doing and what
Yeah.
your bike can do,
Yeah.
and then like how to put that together. I think that part's fun for me to just nerd out and listen to other coaches describing things, and I'm like, A plus B really does equal C. Let me try that,
Yeah.
and it's kind of neat
Well,
when it works.
it's funny because sometimes you are saying A plus B equals, but somebody else might say B plus C actually, or B plus A actually equals. So
Yeah.
it's just the way you put those words in the sentence sometimes, or which thing you put first, and it will click different
Yep.
for everybody. So sometimes if I'm saying A to B and you're saying B to A, maybe it doesn't click when they hear it from me, but it does when they hear it from you. Oh, that's what he meant.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
great to kind of, you know, figure out what words to use and what order to put
Totally.
them sometimes. It's definitely for sure.
That, and I think most of us, I'll speak for myself at least, I don't get out and practice a whole lot. I get out, and when I'm finally out, I want to go ride.
Yeah.
And in a closed range exercise situation, you're forced to actually look at the technique instead of constantly changing terrain.
Yeah.
So I think that's the other benefit of putting your money down on training, is that you make time to actually practice, practice,
Yeah.
practice, and get that feedback loop
Yep.
of whether or not what you're practicing is actually the right thing. So I think a lot of folks get out and ride and they use techniques that have kind of worked for them, but some of them I have to just, like I experienced in Arizona, I had to just finally tell this kid, like, you're not doing it right. Like, there is a right way, and the
Uh-huh.
fact that you're falling off should tell you it's not working.
Uh-huh.
Like there's a way to make things work, and a lot of people just get lucky again and again. And like he was young enough that he bounced, and so he was like,
Uh-huh.
"It's fine, I'm great." And I was like, "No, it's not fine. You're getting lucky."
Uh-huh.
And like up the odds of that luck versus skill ratio,
Yep.
I think is where training comes in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because you don't bounce as good as you get older.
Yeah,
And it's
not at
just not going to
all.
work.
Mm-mm.
And a lot of times it's a really little minor thing a lot of times. Somebody has this bad habit to do this little thing. And if you say, "Hey, I noticed you're doing this little thing. Maybe you don't do that and do this instead," then they come out of it like exponentially different, even though it was just a
Yeah.
little tiny thing.
Yeah, yeah, I'm always surprised by that, and I think the onus is really on the students. I mean, I obviously put a lot into what I'm trying to teach, but
Mhm.
if somebody comes in, I get a lot of, I hate to be stereotyping here, but I get a lot of husbands who want to come take class after their wife has taken a couple.
Uh-huh.
They want to just go ride with them, and so they kind of come in with the attitude of like, oh, whatever, I know how to ride off road, and I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, cool, and I am so, I guess, proud to say that like not a one of them has been like, oh, this was a waste of time. I already
Yeah.
knew all this. They've all said like, oh, I never thought about it that way, or oh, I
Yeah.
really didn't realize I could have improved on this and that, and this was great. I didn't expect to get anything out of it, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. We can all still learn if we have that mindset.
Yep. Student mindset. It's something that's good to have, I think, your whole life.
For sure.
You don't know
For
everything,
sure.
you know?
Yeah. It's tough to stay in that mindset, and I get weird about it, I think, because people expect me to know stuff when
Yeah.
they know I'm a coach.
Uh-huh.
I get strange about it when I'm in trainings that I'm like, don't tell anybody I'm from DC Dirt Camp. Like, I just want to be anonymous. I just want to take the training. So there's no expectations on me.
Yeah.
And that helps me stay in that student mindset that I'm
Yeah.
like, nah, man, don't expect greatness. Like, I know how to do some stuff slow. But
Uh-huh.
for me, the struggle is trying to do things at a quicker pace and
Yeah.
not get in over my head and stuff like that. But like, yeah, it's just something really good to keep in mind and to let everybody else know, like, no, 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 I'm just as much a student as you are.
Yep. Yeah,
There's no rank here.
it goes back to that everybody falls. Hopefully you do it less the more experience you get, but even the guys that are having these crazy ass videos on YouTube, they're still falling. They're just showing the highlights of them nailing it.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't see the 800 tries
Yeah, exactly. Um,
bending the handlebars back and figuring out how to fix everything.
my cousin Jackie, she helps at the base camp, so
See
she
the artist?
the artist, yes.
Yeah.
And now that she's been around all these events, she's getting interested in trying to learn how to ride. And
Woohoo!
I was able to give her a couple things, but then she went out on Facebook. There's in Ohio here, we have this Facebook group called Adventure Rides of Ohio. She went out there and she's like, hey, I'm Jackie. I'm friends with Kane or cousins with Kane, and I'm looking for some gear and for some pointers. So a bunch of people gave her a bunch of gear. Another thing I love about this community, they're a very giving group of people. And then I've been trying to show her off and on a little bit on my KLX, like how to kind of use the bike. And she's been on the mini bike a little bit. And we just got a pit bike. So I'm going to try to throw her on the pit bike actually on Sunday. But I also told her that I think what I should do is actually pay for her to come to one of your classes because she doesn't have a bike. You have a bike. I'm not really working with people that aren't clutch capable. Like I kind of
Right.
weed mine down to if you don't know how to use a clutch, I'm not the place to come. You should go to MSF or you should go to DC Dirt Camp or somebody like that. They can teach you that part and then come back after you learn how to use the clutch and we'll work from there. So I am hoping to do that sometime this year at some point to have her come with you and maybe I jump in and her and I both do a class together. I think that'd be fun too. So I can be the student mindset in one of your classes too, maybe.
That would be fun. You come down and ride, Skyline Drive, Tasker's Gap, figure out how to find some gravel around here and go play while I'm teaching her the basics. And then you switch.
Uh-huh.
We'll get her out and playing somewhere out in the field, go send her to wine tasting one day, and you come to the adventure class with me. That would be fun. I'd be a little intimidated, I won't lie. It's always scary when you have another coach come to a class, and I'm like, ooh.
I know.
Thankfully, I get a lot of street coaches that do the BRC, and they don't tell me they're street coaches until afterward. So I'm like, okay, good. I had no idea. But it's usually positive feedback. But yeah, I would love to have her down here. I do have an Airbnb on site. Right now, I have a long-term renter in there until mid-July. But who knows what's happening after that. And then it's not very far from Winchester, Virginia. And there's a lot of hotels, and it's pretty cheap out here in the country compared to most urban stuff. Most DC prices, this is relatively cheap in this region. So that'd be fun.
Well, I think I felt the same way when I opened up my email and I saw BJ Hessler signed up for my 304 Detour clinic. I'm like, oh no. I'm sure I felt exactly the same way that you feel. So we're even, I guess, on that one.
Good, good. Well, I'll bring my new dirt bike because I don't know what I'm doing on that yet. So hopefully I'll still be, I might be pretty green by then. When's that? That one's like not too long from now. June?
June, yeah.
June, yeah. I think that's my next day off after Fool's Ride. I only get, 2 of them a month, but I'll take it. It's a step in the right direction.
So I just wanted to say thank you for coming on. I was super stoked when you were able to schedule this before Fool's Ride, so we got a chance to talk. And then I get a chance to actually see you and ride with you in less than a week, so I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, me too. I am super psyched. We finally got this nailed down. I know with both of our calendars, it's been tough to get an hour together, but I'm nervous about the Fool's Ride. I don't even know which bike I'm bringing yet. I don't know which bike is legal. I'll figure it out like the night before I pack. And yeah, I'm excited to just get some ride time, and I'm really excited to not be injured this year. Injuries have been a big part of my story, and I have finally decided it's not an option. I'm just not getting hurt anymore, period. It's not happening. I'm going to ride below my skill level to try to make sure that happens. So I'm excited about team stuff because I'm not afraid to say, nope, who's going to ride my bike up that? I'll meet you at the top. It's going to be a good time, though. I'm excited. I'm really excited to get out there and play, and hopefully the weather's going to be awesome. It's always the roll of the dice. But the other part is, I hope everybody listening comes out and gets some training with you or me this summer, and that we get to meet the audience and just keep growing this sport.